Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Discover New Music podcast from Pelt Music. Shortly, we will be joined by Scruffy Bear, who we recently featured on our Discover New Music playlist over on Spotify. Before then, the usual reminders from myself that if you would, please do follow us on social media. We are on Facebook at Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. It really does help us out. Welcome, Scruffy Bear, to the Discover New Music podcast from Pelt Music. We're joined today by Georgy and Ryan from the band. Thank you both for giving up the time and joining us. How are you both doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, no, we're delighted to have you guys on. So we've recently added your latest single, Stories of Strange Women, to our Discover New Music playlist over on Spotify. So listeners, make sure you check that out. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But we always start off our Discover New Music podcast with what we call the origin story for the band. So, what can you guys tell us here? How did Scruffy Bear come into being?
Well, we started in Manchester about 5 years ago. We all sort of met at uni. It was just me and the bass player Sass originally. Yeah. And we had a few member changes and we met the lovely Ryan. We were recommended. Lots of people were like, he's an amazing drummer, you've got to get him. So we were like, yep, perfect, this will work. And then it was us three and another guitarist for a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it took a couple of years.
Yep. And then we found our lovely guitarist Jack as well. We kept bumping into him sort of randomly around Manchester. And we kept trying to be like, Jack, can you come and play guitar for us, please? And he was like, I'm too busy. And eventually he caved. We managed to convince him.
You wore him down. Yeah.
Eventually. So came from Manchester, all met at uni and now we're here.
Yeah, now we are here. And you guys have just put out your latest single, Stories of Strange Women, which we've really enjoyed listening to. Obviously, it's on the podcast. Listeners, obviously, playlist. Obviously, listeners, check that out. So, what can you tell us about Stories of Strange Women? Thematically, lyrically, talk to us about the song.
Well, we started. It was ages ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ages ago. So the start of the song basically came from our guitarist Jack, and he had an idea which ended up becoming the chorus. And it was during the first lockdown about 2 years ago. There was three of us living together at the time.
Right.
He sent over this idea because we were trying to do everything remotely, like every other band. Well, but it was one of the things that made our ears twig, and we were really keen on it straight away. So Sass and I, the bass player, we got into our little music room, which was just on the other side of the house, and we were jamming it as much as we could, and to come up with the next bit, and we were sort of bouncing it back and forth like that. And when the ideas are going back and forth like that, Georgie's ears always listening. She's got a little notepad out, or just on phone tapping lyrics away, and sort of goes like
scribbling away. But the song's about. I've always, like, when I was growing up, I always found complete solace in stories about people that didn't want to change for anybody but themselves. And they really stuck to their guns, because I think as creative people, we can all like get in our heads so much about what we're doing, feeling like we're not doing enough, or we're doing too much, or whatever it might be. I've always been sort of very like that. So that Stories of Strange Women was reminding myself, no, remember how inspired you were by people that just did what they wanted, and if that wasn't okay with other people, then that's down to them. So that it was a proper like, no, come on, Georgie, pick yourself up, stand up, just deal with it, keep going, and just be yourself, really.
Yeah. So when was the song put on record? When were you able to record it? Was it, obviously the pandemic has got in the way for everyone? You talked about doing things remotely. Basically, have you had to sit on the song for quite a while? Because it's interesting to me when you talk about the theme of the song there, about perhaps being over analytical in life. I often find musicians, when they have to sit on a piece of music, can sometimes over analyze that piece of music. Was that a problem with that song?
For this one, I don't personally think it was. I think everyone has had different thoughts and feelings about the single, but really, the way things fell, we started rehearsing again later on in the year, about August, September time, with Jack. So since he was still in Manchester, we'd meet in the middle in Leeds, because it was about an hour between us each way at that point. And we'd planned to go in the studio for this one in the November, and it kept getting rescheduled all the way till April, to be honest. So that was almost like a full year turnaround from like the start of the song to when we had the space and time to record it, basically.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I can't speak for George. I was always excited about it at every point.
Yeah, I was always excited about it, but me being me, I'm just it gets to a point where you listen to it so much, you're like, this is awful. Not because of anyone's performance or anything, but because, I mean, doing the music, we actually filmed the music video twice. So like having hours and hours and hours of listening to it, and hours and hours of doing like recording the BVs for it and all of this sort of stuff, my head just gets to a point where I'm like, this is terrible. What am I doing? Why did I sing like that? But like after it comes out, and I feel like you sort of hear it with a fresh set of ears when stuff comes out, in a way, because it's become what you wanted it to be. It's finally out there for people to hear. And I think after then I was like, no, this isn't terrible, Georgie, come on.
You have to move away from it as well.
Well, I can reassure you, it is most definitely not awful. It's in fact very, very good. And you touched on actually my next question, and my next question was relating to the music video, which obviously, again, listeners can search out for on YouTube. So the video was obviously filmed, I guess, in the bar where you guys are now. So where did the video concept come from? And obviously, clearly, you had to record it twice. So what were the issues with the first take?
Well, we spent 6 months?
It was about 6 months.
About 6 months. We spent 6 months collecting loads of different speakers, like Free Cycle and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We thought it would be really cool if the sort of set built up around us, like during different parts of the song. And it took a good while to find all of them. But we're really lucky that, like, we're in our house at the moment, but we're not too far away from the barn where it was filmed, which we're helping to set up as a music venue at the moment.
Yeah.
So we're really lucky that we can just go, you know what? On Saturday, we'll get our filmographer that we use, Rob. We'll get him round and we'll film this. And there was a lot of planning that went into it, but we didn't quite think about the outfits enough.
Right.
They were terrible. In person, Jack looked like a cow. Not literally, but he was wearing very black and white. I think you looked the best out of all of us, really. You made the most sense.
But if you look at the picture from an old video, like, I look like I have the biggest ankles ever. Ankles. Yeah. So the shoe game and the ankles were on point. So that had to get fixed for me personally.
No, it all just didn't work together. And we got an outside opinion. And yeah, they were like, I think it's a really cool video, like it looks really good, but the outfits are just not quite there. And at first we were like, no, don't know what you're on about. And then once we looked at it, you're like, no, you're completely right, they are terrible.
Well, again, obviously, that extra analysis has obviously paid off, and you got a really good video out of it, which obviously listeners again check out, out for it on YouTube. So obviously you got this single out here that it feels like the fresh sort of new push from the band, because obviously there is some music out there from over the last couple of years, but this certainly feels like maybe a new beginning for the band. Obviously I know you talked about some changes in members, so when might fans expect something slightly more meatier than just a single? Is there any plans for an EP or an album? What have you guys got in the works?
Well, when we recorded Stories, we went in and recorded a full EP. So that will be getting announced properly next. Oh my God, next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. So in a couple of months' time, we'll have a proper nice EP out there. That'll be a nice little Scruffy Bear package instead of. So all we've ever done is release singles. So at this point, it's really nice that we've finally pulled ourselves together enough to not overthink the whole fourth song. There's a definite theme in this band of overthinking, and it's normally my fault.
Works though, works for the band.
No, but yeah, so we've got a nice big chunky piece of Scruffy Bear music coming out soon, which we're really, really excited about.
Yeah, they're fantastic. We can't wait to hear it. Yeah, the whole point of the Discover New Music podcast and playlist that we do is discovering, new acts, and I don't think there's anything better than finding your new favorite act. It's always nice to have something a bit meatier to sink your teeth into, as I like to say. For fans that are checking you out now before that EP comes out, you have got a live EP that is available, I believe. So what should fans expect if they're going to go and check that live EP out? What is the EP about?
So the EP, the Scruffy Bear live EP, we put together because we wanted to show a lot of love for our old songs and sort of where we came from. So there's a cover on there as well. And there's also a track on there that we haven't recorded, but we've been playing live for 5 years in all the different lineups of the band. And I think it was actually the first song the band had ever written. And that was even before I was there. So we just wanted to show some love for all that sort of history of the band before we fully worked out how we want to go forward, especially with this new stuff that's coming out. And it was recorded at the barn as well. There's a lot of live videos on YouTube, and there's a special one in the fan groups as well that wasn't put on the EP, and it was mixed and mastered by our lovely Jack. So I think it has really shined a light on this lineup of the band, which is the lineup. Is the lineup now. And
I think we've always struggled to get our live sound, and I know a lot of bands feel like this as well, get the energy and all the passion that goes into a live performance. Translating that to recording is just, it can be an absolute nightmare. So a lot of the songs that we recorded before were recorded ages ago, and they've become their own thing since then. So they differ to how they were when they were originally recorded. So for us, it was like, let's get something out there that sounds like us, that sounds, because we're not just sort of stationary people on stage. We're bouncing around, giving it our all, and getting very sweaty and getting very out of breath.
And a lot of that stuff we were just working out along the way. If you got your ear tuned into it, you can sort of hear our little journey, you know what I mean?
No, it's quite interesting to hear that, because I remember an interview, I believe it was with Roger Daltrey from The Who from quite a few years back, but he was asked about what set The Who apart from their contemporaries at the time, and he said something quite interesting to me, the fact that they tried to capture on record their live sound, whereas a lot of other bands were trying to replicate live the sound of them on record. Is that something that you guys would echo?
That's a really good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, it's the best way to put it.
Yeah, because we are never. We only try and keep like overdubs, and we record like Sass and Ryan record bass and drums together. That is how we always go about stuff, because that to us is like how you get the start of the really nice live energy. So whatever we put into the song, we want to try and make sure we can recreate that when it comes to live performances, and we're not relying on us not sounding like us, really, because if we can't recreate that, then what's the point of doing it?
And you can riff with it live as well. You can throw in like extra little drum fills, or like you can go for like different ad-libs and all that fun stuff, really.
I do feel songs are living entities, and they obviously change over time, and they grow as pieces of art. That's really interesting to hear. And obviously we touched on live with the live EP. You guys have got some shows coming up, a few shows up north in particular. I noticed the date at Trillions in Newcastle, which is a great venue. So obviously fans need to check you out live. And if they were to check you out live, how would you describe yourselves as a live act?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Loud,
Yeah.
bouncy, passionate.
Yeah. Loud, bouncy, and passionate.
That's a good three words. No, I like it. And another date on the horizon for you guys is Call of the Wild Festival. I believe you're playing on the third stage there. Obviously, it's a great festival. Fans should check out the lineup online. Are you guys excited to be getting back into, after the pandemic, what, let's face it, it's probably going to be a muddy field. But are you guys excited to get back out to a festival?
Well, this is it's not our first festival, but it's the first time we'll be playing Call of the Wild, and we've been booked on for the best part of 18 months now.
Yeah,
because it kept getting rearranged.
I feel so sorry for him.
I know, really bad. But as far as everything lining up goes, like, it's working perfectly for us. The fact it's been rescheduled, and there's been so many great bands added, and it's also the first gig we're playing in Lincoln and that far south. So we're super excited.
So excited. Can't wait to just get out there and be with so many amazing bands and just meet so many different people, and be able to properly go on a little performance rampage. I think
I don't think we know anyone on that day. We don't know anyone personally, so we're gonna have to get our network.
Definitely. Well, it is a fantastic bill. Obviously, listeners, head to the Call of the Wild website to check that one out. And obviously, if you are going, make sure you check out Scruffy Bear. So when you look ahead to the shows you've got coming up, the next portion of the podcast is something I call Setlist Science. So the question to you is, how much attention do you pay to the structure of a set list when you're preparing for a show? And what, if any, rules have you got that you try to follow?
I don't think we have any rules, but we will always sit beforehand and go, right, that we sort of tailor it to crowds in a little way, but not too much. But we try and lead with something. If we're playing somewhere that we know there'll be a lot of people there that haven't heard us before, then we try and put our most digestible stuff sort of at the start to get people in. Have a little bit of a softer middle, and then just punch them in the face at the end. That's the general formula.
I think it's a formula that works very, very well, as long as you're not literally punching people in the face. Although, I don't know, some genres of music, I think that'll go down quite well. But no, it's always interesting. Always interesting to get the opinion. Different artists, take it to different levels with their constructing their set lists, and track lists on albums and EPs as well. So I don't know if you had any conflict amongst yourselves, with the EP that you guys have got written around the order of the tracks on there.
I don't think we did, really, did we? We were all, for a lot of the process, we were quite on the same wavelength with a lot of things, and like, luckily the track listing was one of them, because I think we share a lot of the same attitude towards, like, what singles should sound like, what should punch you in the face, like what should make you feel something. So the debate around the set list, the track list, wasn't actually difficult, was it?
No, I think most of our songs are quite well. The 4 songs that are going to be on the EP, they're very different sounding from each other. So there was no sort of difficulty in maybe that one should go there, but that sounds too similar to that. It made the way we sort of talked about it made sense, the way it flowed, and it takes you up and then it takes you down and then it takes you back up, and then you're hopefully crying by the end of it. Good way,
in a good way, and so bringing us full circle back to Stories of Strange Women, what about that song out of these 4 songs on the EP stood out to you where you said, well, this has to be the single that we lead with?
I think it was the fact that it was so bouncy and really groovy. I think that for us was like we've been unsure in a lot of our sort of musical journey with exactly who we were And I think sometimes we tried to overcomplicate things, didn't we?
A little bit, yeah.
And with stories, we wanted to keep it. It didn't need too much. That riff is. It doesn't need a load of stuff with it, and we wanted the first thing for us coming back and releasing this, like starting to release like a big chunk of music. We wanted it to sort of punch people in the face, but invite them in at the same time. There's another song on the EP which will just punch you in the face and just leave you. Hi.
Well, I very much look forward to being punched in the face when the EP comes out. Can't wait for it. Obviously, so everyone listening to the show, you know, you need to make sure you're following the bands, because you know you want to be able to find a show to head along to, and you want to obviously know when the EP's coming out. You want to check the EP out. You guys have done something really good for me, who likes to read out the social media profiles of everyone. You've got the same profile for all of your social medias, which is great. It's obviously Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all Scruffy Bear Band. So obviously, listeners, make sure you pop online, follow the band, and obviously check out Stories of Strange Women on the podcast. So, guys, what would be your final message for people listening today?
Ooh.
Wise words, Ryan.
A lot of pressure here.
Oh, don't put me on the spot like that. You're the wordsmith.
Am I?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who's listened and loved the single so far. This is the first time we've stepped our foot out as much as we have done, and to see all that, the new faces and the new feedback, it's been pretty ridiculous and amazing for us. So just thank you to absolutely everyone.
Yeah, it's been a lovely little experience, all of this, and thank you as well for having us on. And
Absolute
yeah,
pleasure.
if it sounds like we might be something to pique your interest, then go check out our website with all our live dates and stuff. And yeah, it's been really lovely.
Well, thank you both for joining us, listeners. Make sure you check the band out. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed that chat there with Scruffy Bear. Please do check out their single Stories of Strange Women on our Discover New Music playlist over on Spotify. Make sure you follow the band on their social media channels to see what's coming next from them. And of course, if you would, follow us on our social media channels. We are on Facebook at Full Pelt, and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And finally, please do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we will be back very, very soon for another edition of the Discover New Music podcast.